But I tried not to get angry about it because, look, man, I'm trying to approach everything with understanding right now. And I'm thinking that Drew Brees is speaking from a certain place that a lot of people love to deny these days. And y'all probably know what it is. And he's the perfect example of what that thing is that everybody that tries to say that don't exist. I want to go ahead and get into a little something here. I told you guys I got some choice words for somebody out there. And let me see if I can read this email. I had this prepared before, but somebody asked me about a certain thing, and I said, you know what? This is a good way. This is a good way to kind of segue into this if I can actually find the email. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. So this is from James Russell. And James Russell wrote to us today, Martin. James Russell said...
Where's he from? Did it say?
No, didn't say.
Okay.
Why?
Because we had a James Russell who came to one of our shows. He's from Australia.
Might be. I don't know. You know what, Martin? Let's just go ahead and say yeah. Hey, James, how you doing? If that is truly you. James Russell says, hey, Korey, I've been watching you guys for about 2 years now, and I really enjoy the content in the community. So not him, Martin.
No, not him.
So hi.
Not him.
He says here, and he's talking about this guy, Drew Brees, right here.
Right.
He says,
Hometown
I know you
hero.
guys aren't big on sports, but did you see what Drew Brees had to say about the American flag? I think it's very disheartening that even with everything that's going on right now, people are still having these conversations about the flag instead of addressing the real issues. Yeah, and I didn't think anybody was really going to bring it up today, but...
Yeah, I read that, but I didn't think they would either.
Yeah, I thought everybody would have been kind of exhausted about talking about everything else and just kind of let this one go. But it did affect me, man, when I saw this and I read this. Irritated me a little bit too, I'm gonna tell you. It made me mad. That's what am I talking about? But I tried not to get angry about it because, look, man, I'm trying to approach everything with understanding right now. And I'm thinking that Drew Brees is speaking from a certain place that a lot of people love to deny these days. And y'all probably know what it is. And he's the perfect example of what that thing is that everybody that tries to say that don't exist. Let me just say this. One of the reasons why I try not to get too angry about it, because I know Drew Brees, he has a good heart. I really do believe that. Like, he just finished donating $5 million back in 2019, $5 million to Louisiana. You know, I do think that his heart is in the right place. But I think
his brain's somewhere.
But he's ignorant.
Yeah.
His heart is in the right place. His brain is in his ass. So we're talking about Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Let me tell you, let me give you a little background right here. So the reason why this is a topic of discussion, and here it is where I brought up an article where you guys can see. CBS Sports, where they talk about the $5 million donation. Saints quarterback Drew Brees and his wife donate $5 million to Louisiana for coronavirus relief. So that wasn't even 2019, that was this year. So he gave $5 million to Louisiana for coronavirus relief. Man has a good heart. I appreciate that. As I said, brain is all up in his ass, though. He said this today. Martin, you say you saw this. Saints, Drew Brees, and this is from ESPN, draws backlash for disrespecting the flag comment. Now, not that he disrespected the flag, but he says that, if I got this right, he pretty much said, I cannot agree with anybody at all who disrespects the flag.
Right.
And the reason why, here's a quote. He says, the reason why I can't agree with anybody who disrespects the flag, he says, I love and respect my teammates, and I stand right there with them in regards to fighting for racial equality and justice. But he says, I also stand with my grandfathers who risked their lives for this country and countless other military men and women who do it on a daily basis. I understand what you're trying to say, man, but let me just say this. And let me just preface it with saying this. And some people say, Korey, you don't need to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like just throwing down the term white privilege. It exists. I make no doubt. It's out there. But just like any other slogan, I really pick those moments where I got to say white privilege because just like any other slogan out there, it'll become a catchphrase where it will lose its meaning. Mm-hmm. You just say it. You use it loosely. No one will pay attention. But today, Mr. Brees over here is the prime shining example of white privilege with that, of privilege, period. Mm-hmm. I'll read it again so I can really emphasize my point. I'll read the second part of this. I also stand with my grandfathers who risked their lives for this country. Well, guess what? When they got back, they received all the freedoms and all the perks that flag and that anthem promised to apparently everybody in this country. Mm-hmm. Not really.
Well, anybody can promise. It's actually delivering on the promise. That's the hard part.
And it was never written for everybody in the first place. Mm-hmm. The flag was never made for everybody. The Constitution was never written for everybody. Those motherfuckers wrote the Constitution while they had slaves.
Yeah.
So that shit was never meant for everybody. To this day right now, that flag and that anthem lies to people. So your grandfathers got back for fighting for their country. And you know what? When they got back, they got to vote. They got to go where they want to. They got all the best facilities. They were never denied anything. And most importantly, they got to live without fear of being the wrong color in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why these out here who sit up here and always talk about respect the flag, and I've said it over again, but apparently I got to say it again. I got to say it again to you. The reason why, because my father was a military man. My father was in 3 wars. He was in Vietnam. Before that, he was in Korean conflict. And then before that, he was in World War II.
My father as well.
And your father's. So our fathers. Now, my father took a bullet. My father went into World War II at 15 years of age. And he says he had to lie, but I guarantee you they wouldn't have given a f. They probably would let him in no matter what. But
stick him on the front line.
At a very young age, my father took a bullet for this country, which means he was prepared to die for this country. And your father went over there prepared to die. Now, when my father got back, who fought and was ready to die for this country, my father's from Alabama. My father got back smack dab in the middle of Jim Crow. So why, Mr. Brees, so while your grandfather
talking to you,
pay attention. Look at me. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me. Put your hand down. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Mr. Brees, while your grandfather was out there enjoying all of the perks that were promised to him by the flag and the American dream, my father got back and was told he can't vote, he can't go to certain parts of town, he can't use the best facilities, he can't actually, if he's in certain parts of the South, he can't even live if he's there after a certain time. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's just to Drew Brees. I'm saying it's to everybody who's behind him, because apparently you don't give a or you don't understand. Take your pick. And at this point, if you don't understand, then you're just playing sides.
Well, also this disrespecting the country and disrespecting the flag, how far does that go? Does that mean like every song about America you have to stand for
some
and
people,
respect?
Yeah. Well, not every song, but you know what? They say for the national anthem, you better stand. You better salute to the flag. You better not touch that flag the wrong way. You better not drop it. You know what I mean? You act like that flag has been on the battleground the whole time with everybody.
Right.
You know, people, again, look at those pictures. Jim Crow, man. Everything was whites only. And everybody thinks Jim Crow South was doing that. No, they were doing that all around the country. Hattie McDaniel won the Academy Award, first black woman to win the Academy Award, and she couldn't even come into the place to get her award. And if she did, she had to go through the back. So don't tell me about the flag. The flag's a lie. I want to hear shit about that, man. You know, it's It's easy to tell people about flags and anthems
when it works for
when
you.
you're on the when you're on the winning side of it. Then we don't have to agree. We don't have to agree, but you gotta understand. You have to understand, because if you don't, then you're just playing sides. You're just on your team. You refuse to budge. And don't sit up here and tell me about, how you are all for racial injustice and you respect the people fighting for the cause when you're a part of it. Because believing in that flag encompasses all. That's pure ignorance. Somebody said Drew Brees is not ignorant. I think you're saying that because he knows.
Oh, okay.
I hope you're not saying that because you feel like he's right, because he's not. That flag, what I have to tell you, people, when my father goes off to war for this country, takes a bullet and he comes back and is told, you are less than a man. That flag wasn't protecting him.
Sure. He's an NFL player. So they're going to have, especially the players, the bigger they are going to have owners and coaches in their ear going, now, you don't want to kneel with those boys. We respect America here.
Yeah. But no, he really.
You're a team player.
Yeah.
And you think about your grandfather and say whatever. And he's go like, yeah, you're right. And it's like, okay, that gives me an out. Because saying that but my father fought in World War II and blah, blah, blah. My grandfather, what does that have to do with it?
No, that's his thing, man. He really does. He's, and I'm not saying this is bad, but he is a pure Christian American, believe in God, believe in country. That's been Drew Brees' thing. That's been his image. I think he's the guy that would, he was praised for praying, like on field or something, or taking a knee for God or something. You can take a knee for God, but can't take a knee for a Negro. I'm sorry. I'll say it now and I'll say it again. And I say it because I do want people to be upset, because that's the only way to get to you. F that flag, man. And I say any flag, any anthem out there. Those things mean nothing, man. They divide people. They're a way to control people. Mm-hmm. They're symbols. You don't fight. You know what? You don't die for a flag. That's stupid.
If you do, you're stupid.
You're stupid. You don't. That's a symbol. That's a piece of cloth. You die for people in their rights. And if you're not fighting for their rights, then you never believe what that flag was saying in the first place. Get out of here with that. I've told you this before, and I mean it, man. I don't believe in false patriotism. Patriotism is what these people are doing in the streets right now. Patriotism is standing up for what is right. Patriotism is standing up for your fellow American or your fellow human being. Patriotism is not sitting up there listening to a song and saluting a piece of cloth, because that's just like with anything. That might as well be a shallow ass hashtag on the internet. That's an easy thing to do. That's the easiest thing to do, to sit up here and do what everybody tells you to do. Look at a piece of cloth, go like, yes, sir. That's easy. What's hard is standing up for injustice. What's hard is standing up for ignorance. What's hard is standing up for people who are denied rights. And I'm not talking about just black people. I'm talking about anybody.
Everybody.
I'm talking about everybody. Like I said, it's not me talking about the American flag. Countries do this all over, man. Mm-hmm. They do this all over. People hold symbols, and symbols are quick ways to get people shortcuts to win people over. I'm holding a Bible. I'm looking at a flag. Over in Turkey, my wife told me, Erdogan, their president, does the same thing. Gets up there, holds the Quran, and salutes the flag. This shit is worldwide, man. People do this all the time. These are quick things to control people and to get people to root for the most basic shit, so that they can actually control you. Nobody's gonna question anything if you looked upon as unpatriotic, because no matter and I don't not too many people do this anymore. But if you ever said, man, you know what, man, America's healthcare system is really bad. We gotta do something. Well, you don't like it, leave. Oh, maybe I will, because apparently I don't want to be with stupid motherfuckers like you that want to deal with garbage. Mm-hmm. You don't want to make anything better. All you know is that ever since you were born, you were told America.
in the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's still the greatest country in the world. And
yeah, exactly.
It's like where you just hear it so much, you go like, well, you just repeat it. Well, it's still the greatest country in the world. How would you know? You've never been anywhere. I just know, that's all.
In Vietnam, and they did it in Germany. Somebody put it up. I remember watching Watchmen. They put those flyers out there. Why are you? The Nazis are like, hey, look, yeah, cold-blooded motherfucker. But why are y'all fighting against us, man? You know?
Oh, right.
You know? Hey, let us kill you because you know where we're coming from. You know, over there, they're just going to send you over here to fight us and then go over back and then they'll kill you. What's wrong with y'all? You know, if you disagree, fine. But you got to understand where I'm coming from. Because all this shit, if you don't understand, then you're living a lie just like anybody else. And Drew Brees, I'm sorry, man, but that whole God and country thing that you're doing, you probably got a great heart, but they got you brainwashed, man. Anybody out there who just blindly just pledging allegiance to anything, I don't care if it's a flag or a sports team. You said they just like, oh, you know, that's what I'm for. For what?
Right.
I don't know, man. We keep telling them, boy.
What they'll listen one day. I mean, we won't be here.
Good. You can have it. Like I said earlier, you can have it.